there. Well, my friends, as we get going today, I want to know from just a couple of you what brought you here today. And if it's just, I'm here to support Russ, I want to hear that. So, what brought you in to learn about the law of the lid?
Just self-interest for me. It's interesting. The more knowledge, the better, and the networking too as well.
That is great. And you're a branch manager for Frontline on the East Coast, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and Frontline is in hyper growth mode. So you've got to grow ahead of that growth to be able to make
Something,
sure that you don't
something
become
like
a
that.
lid
And then
on
share the love, share the knowledge. Sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring. All right. So I'm seeing a couple of our responses over here to go get us started. Sumit, he knows me. Good to be here. Thanks for all the support, you guys. Really appreciate it. Here's what I really want, though. As much as you're here to support me, I want to make sure I give you something of value because on the John Maxwell team, here's what we believe. We believe that you are a person of value and we want to help add value to you. And so I value you. You're a person of value, and I want to add that value. And we are going to do that today by trying to lift your lid. Now, for those of you who may not know much about me, I do know we do business with those we know, like, and trust. So if you're going to come back next week when I've got another one of these going on, I want you to be able to know me a little bit more. So this is my family. You'll see Jonah here. This was Jonah's wedding. So his lovely wife Fifi, and then the rest of my family. I have a son-in-law Spencer, and so we're excited that our family is growing. We had six children, and now we've got eight as that continues to grow. So, yeah, if there is a leadership lid that I need to improve, it is on the father, soon to be grandfather side. And no pressure to Jonah, Fifi, or Julia or Spencer. Now, this can go both ways. I want to put some credibility out there as well. Like, Russ, why should I even be here? What's going on here? Well, one is I am an executive director with the Maxwell Leadership Certified Team for coaching, training, speaking. And so I'm here to help you do that. And for my educational background, my bachelor's degree is from BYU in health and wellness. My graduate degree is in psychology with educational psychology at the University of Utah. So it's nice that Maxwell's color is purple because it brings those two together. I have dual citizenship, so I'm okay with all my friends jumping in from different spots with different, what would we say, loyalties maybe coming on in here. So whether you're blue, red, purple, we've got you covered here with the Maxwell leadership team. It's fun to have you. All right, and I want to introduce you to two of our guests that are going to have a little video cameo each week that we jump on here. One is John Maxwell. And if you don't know John Maxwell's name, he is one of the leadership experts throughout the last 50 years, honestly. Since July 4th of 1976, when he made that jump, he started in speaking, then he started writing books. And one of the book that we are going to be going over for today is the best-selling leadership book of all time, over 30 million copies sold. So we're going to just look at one of those laws there, the law of the lid, which comes in on that. And so I want you to know who he is, why we should even care about John Maxwell and what he's got to say. And then we've got Mark Cole, who he has asked to be his CEO for the last decade. And so Mark Cole's going to come in. He's going to give us a little bit of leadership application to help us get going. And for those who are just joining us, as we jump into this, I want to do 30 minutes each week of what I call a leadership solution. And that solution means you're going to walk away with something that you can do. And this week it's going to be something you can do to increase your leadership lid. So let's roll with this. And I want to invite you to take action. So, action meaning ACT, what's something you can apply, something you can change, and something you can teach. And if you're wondering what's the difference between applying and changing, changing is probably more towards something you're already doing. You need to pivot that, change it up somehow. Apply would be something you're going to start doing. You're like, oh, that's new awareness. This is something I can do to get going that way. So as we jump into the law of the lid with the 21 laws of leadership, this first law, I want to ask you a couple, and feel free to jump in on the chat over here as well. I'm going to be monitoring that one. I want to hear what do you just think the law of the lid is when it comes to leadership? If we're like in leadership, John's got 21 laws to share with us. The law of influence is next week. The law of big mo or momentum will be the week after that. Just best guess, how would you define without maybe even knowing what it is? What is the law of the lid? Anybody want to jump in there? Oh, here we go. Jonah probably has something to do with some sort of limitation. What are you thinking, Derek? I see you unmute. Derek Crimmins.
Yeah. That's the
Derek,
other, I'm the other
I
Derek,
gotta keep
right?
you two right close to each other.
No, you're good. Just anything that when I think of a lid, I just went out to my garbage and put something into the garbage and shut it in there. So anything that is limiting or keeping it from getting out. So
Oh
that's
yeah.
just my thoughts.
Well, and you're right on. That's
Okay.
going to be a helpful illustration for us. Derek, frontline Derek, go
Oh,
for it as
okay.
well.
Yeah, yeah. Something with it, Derek just said too as well. It's pretty much I compare it to my mind, I guess. When I think of lid, so that's my simile to that. So, and just having your
Mhm.
standards to know when to open and know when to close.
All right. I like that. Well, here's what we're going to do. And I want to ask you to do this. Anytime that you're in a training, the first thing that you want to do, and hopefully the trainer does this, and if they do, then they definitely know what they're doing, is you want to be able to define what it is that you're training on. Make sure that you've got a good definition laid out. So I've got one here, a little fill in the blank, which is pretty easy, but I want to encourage you to take any notes. And the most important notes are not going to be necessarily what I say or what anyone else says. It's going to be what comes to you. It's the voice on the inside that's going to be speaking to you. So make sure you get that down above anything else. But John's going to have words similar to this. Your blank ability determines your blank of effectiveness, right? So there's going to be something about your ability that's going to affect something about your effectiveness. And I want you to look for that as you're going, as well as I want you to just consider what else just pops out to you. Because I'm going to come right back and just say, from the video what stood out, and we'll hit the chat as well there. So Sumit saying, let's take off the lid. We're going to level up here. And Sumit, why don't you let me know since I just saw yours on there? I'm going to do a little share sound, share video. I'm going to jump in here and you just let me know if this isn't coming through for you. Okay. All right. Here we go.
Hi, John Maxwell here. I wrote the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership several years ago to help a person understand what leadership is all about. Now, little did I know when I wrote that book that it would become the #1 leadership bestseller in the world, over 3 million copies, 57 different languages. Why? Because it changes lives. And that's what we're hoping for you in this mastermind as your executive director walks you through the 21 laws. This is going to be a leadership experience for you. And I'm so excited as the author of the book and as a leadership teacher and expert around the world to come into your life with my friend Mark Cole, who is my CEO and runs all of my companies. He is my right-hand man. Together with your executive director, this mastermind teaching is about to take you to a new level in your leadership life. The first law of the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership is the law of the lid, which basically says leadership ability determines a person's level of effectiveness. In other words, how well you lead determines how well you succeed. You see, over 35 years ago, I came to the conclusion that everything rises and falls on leadership. Think about that for a moment. Everything rises or falls on leadership. In other words, how well you lead not only determines how well you succeed, how well you lead determines how well the people that follow you succeed. Leadership has a multiplying effect, either positively or negatively, on people. This is huge. And when I became convinced that everything rises and falls on leadership, I looked at that in the business world and found it was true. I looked at it in the religious world, found it was true. Looked in the education world, found out it was true. Looked at the government world, found out it was true. It's true. In your life right now, in your organization, everything rises and falls on leadership. Your leadership is the lid that determines the level of your success. Let me illustrate with my hand for a moment. Let's say that this is my leadership lid. This is how well John Maxwell leads. And let's say I'm an average leader. I'm a 5. Out of a 1 to a 10, I'm a 5. So I'm an average leader. This is my leadership lid. What this means is that my organization, my business, whatever I'm trying to lead, my community group, whatever it is I'm leading, if I'm a 5 as a leader, what that means is that my leadership and my success will only become a 4. I can't be successful beyond and above my leadership lid. My leadership lid holds down my potential. Wow. No matter where I go, no matter what I do, I still have a leadership lid. And that determines how successful I'm going to be. Now, the good news is, because of this mastermind teaching with your executive director, the good news is you're going to learn how to lead better. So let's go back to my illustration. If you're a 5 as a leader, then your organization is going to be a 4. But you can learn to lead better. So week in, week out, as you study the 21 laws, you start growing your leadership, and you go from a 5 to a 6 to a 7, maybe to an 8. Now, as you increase and develop and grow your leadership lid and it goes higher, what is the potential for your organization down here? It can go from a 4 to a 5 to a 6 to a 7 because your organization, your people follow your leadership lid. And that's why we're doing the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. And that's why this is the first law. How well you lead determines how well you succeed. And Mark Cole, my CEO of all of my companies, an amazing leader that I have the privilege of mentoring, is going to walk hand in hand with me through these teachings, along with your executive director, and he's going to give you the application of every law I teach. So here's Mark as he applies now the law of the lid in your life.
Thank you, John. My name's Mark Cole. I've been the CEO of John's company for 7 years. What I'm going to do in this section, each and every law, is I'm going to take you through a journey through 2 or 3 questions that will help you apply that particular law to your leadership journey. Then the executive director, this individual has been trained, certified by John Maxwell, and they will take you on a discussion and then a challenge that will allow you to take this law and do something with it to influence your life and to influence your leadership. So before we apply this law of the lid, let me tell you my story. 17 years with John, the last 7 years as his CEO, and 5 years ago, for 5 years, we had been experiencing double-digit growth. So what do you do with that? Well, John looked at where he was in life. He looked at the opportunities ahead of me, you, everybody associated with his enterprise, and he said, Mark, I believe we have a time ahead of us of exponential growth. But here's the problem. Your lid is going to hold back the organization if we don't lift your lid of leadership. So what did I do? I had to change my team. I had to change my mentors. I had to change the way I was thinking to be able to lead our organization over the next decade. Perhaps you're in that situation that I was in. Your ability to lead at the next level needs to be increased so that your organization can get there as well. So I have 3 questions I want you to answer. First, what is your leadership number now? In fact, as you look at that, as you discuss it with the executive director, I also want you to think about what number do you think you could achieve with growth, with changing your mentors, changing the way you think. And finally, I'm going to challenge you today in this discussion over the next week. What is your plan to increase your number? Now, as promised, our executive director is coming and they are going to lead you into a journey to raise the lid of your leadership. Enjoy.
All right, enjoy. So this is the first of 3 laws. Next week, like I said, we'll do the law of influence. The following week, we'll do the law of the big Mo, momentum. And then we're going to move on to some other opportunities to help us in our leadership. But this is where it all starts, is leveling up that lid. So first thing that I want to ask you, let's just come on over here for just a moment. We've got a couple of things. And those that can't jump on, please feel free to use the chat. I love seeing it, everything that you've got in there. And I'm going to pivot this for us so that you can get in there a little bit better. And I'm going to just make that spotlighted for a second to make it better for everyone. So, someone who would like to jump on, what was your biggest takeaway from the video? And what was it that made that impression on you? And Jeff, I love it. Lid? What lid? No lid on Jeff.
Like I said, I pretty much take it, don't be shy to level up pretty much. The whole
I
number,
do like that.
the whole leadership number. Right away, I just thought about for me is no, just like that comment said, is no number. Just keep
I
working,
love that, Derek.
build on it.
Thank you. Anybody else? Just feel free to jump on in there. And
Yeah.
and jump in the chat as well. Jeff Johnston, go ahead.
Hey, Russ. Do you think people have a hard time determining what number they are in leadership?
Yeah.
Where's the barometer on that? It's good because if you ask me, and I do this a lot with clients, it's like, 1 to 10, where are you type thing. The typical answer is I'm 7, right in there. So I think if all of us were to answer, it's kind of like, okay, I guess I'm a 7. But what metrics are we really, running this by? Like, I don't know. I think in some areas I might be a 1, in other areas I might be a 12, right? It just kind of depends.
Okay, my friend. That is really good. There are different levels that so first of all, the barometer, right? So I want to give you a barometer for being here today. I've got for you what's called the 5 levels of leadership field guide that was produced by the Maxwell leadership team. And so for right now, let me just give you something that you can use as a barometer. You can click that link, just let it open up in a new tab. It's a PDF. And this PDF, what it will do is it will walk you through 5 levels of leadership that help you have a barometer, Jeff, where you can say, oh, level 1 is position. I lead because of a title that I have. Level 2 is permission. I lead because people give me, they follow me because they want to, not because they have to. So I go from position to permission. The next one's production. People follow me because they like what I do, what I'm able to produce, and they want to be a part of that. They start producing with me. Level 4 is now that reproduction stage or people development, where now, Jeff, as a realtor, you're actually a broker, right? And you're helping to develop other realtors now. Is that correct? And so you've gone from individual contributor on the production level to broker with realtors. Is that right, Jeff?
That's correct. Yeah, I do
Yeah.
have agents underneath me. Yeah, not that's the wrong word.
I know it's hard.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
we get
That's
it.
not. Yeah, we're developing talent, future talent for home sales and home purchases in the future.
That's right. So now you're actually in people development stage while still producing. And then you want to get to that last P, which is the pinnacle, where it's a leader who produces leaders that produce leaders. So now it's a double replication, right? So now you produce realtors who produce realtors.
Makes
And
sense.
that is that pinnacle and that is what you're going to get right here. So it's a good barometer. And in that multi-page document, what it has is activities for you to go to help you assess, am I at this level? Am I at positional level? And Jeff, the other thing you said that was really insightful is with every single person, not just positionally, I'm at a different level. So even when I was the director of online learning, it with every single person, I was at a different spot. So someone who just came in, I was probably just positional with them. After a couple one-on-ones, permissional with them. After we get going, production level with them. After we really get going, now they're becoming a leader. Jeff, I noticed you're ready to jump on in there
No,
again.
and it wasn't really jump on. I just want to be prepared if she asks me a question,
Oh,
hardball question
you're
coming
so
at me.
good.
I didn't want to stumble and fumble with the with.
No, I love that. No, you're great. Thanks for being ready. I just wanted to acknowledge that so this is a barometer that you can use to say what level am I at and in which position of my life and even in that position with each person in my life. And this is not meant to be a quick fix nor a quick go through document. You'll notice it's several pages long. Let's see how many pages. Man, we've got 15 pages in this document. And again, what I told you is I see you as a person of value. I want you to have it. So please don't feel like this is something overwhelming where, oh man, I'll never have the time to do it. Take it bite size and just start going through and really evaluate. Like what he said here, what's your current leadership number? Well, what's my barometer? I'll start reading this. And as I get through the first couple pages, oh, now I understand some levels of leadership. And there's other books that do this as well, but these will be John's. And then what do you think it could be or should be? And then there's some exercises to help take you through. Okay, I noticed you mic'd up
Okay, yeah,
again.
I'm ready this time. So
This
I
time you're
asked my
ready.
wife. My wife says I'm a two, and then I asked AI, and AI says I'm a six. So I don't know where.
Well, you gotta love AI. AI is usually going to be your faithful partner, giving you great scores on pretty much anything that you're going to do there. So if you ever get poor feedback from, or feedback that you don't appreciate from that person, which that's number five, right? Is number four, what are you going to do over the next month? So I want you to take that 15-page document, and again, don't let it be the overwhelm. Let it actually be the game plan for the next month and say, within the next month, I'm going to level up my leadership. I'm going to, first of all, learn a barometer, like Jeff said. I'm going to level up my leadership in a certain position, and maybe it's this specific with a certain person. Who's that person maybe that you need to do? Dustin, your HVAC company is growing. You just brought on an employee, right? New employee you just brought on. And so for you, I think you have a relationship with this person already. You're already at the relational part, right? Now you've got to, you want to, what's the next step? Do you want to go to production? You got to get some good production there.
Yeah, I'm still trying to work out the kinks.
Yeah. And that's, so you're like, okay, this is the level of leadership I'm at with, what's the new guy's name?
Jake.
Jake. So I'm working out the kinks with Jake. We're going to get some good production here. But eventually, what you want to do with Jake is you want Jake to be that more capable person who's helping new employees that are coming in to have that experience, freeing you up to do the high level strategic directional leadership that you need to do. So that is where this document can really help you out. And don't let it just be a document, let it be a workbook. In fact, John Maxwell, he started his leadership journey again over 50 years ago when somebody asked him one question. And the question was this, and it's my question for you. What is your plan for personal development? Do you have a plan for personal development? Are you currently using that plan for personal development? If you don't have one, I just gave you one. That 15 pages becomes the perfect roadmap for you to start having your own personal development experience. So I'd love for you to do this as you think about that. Oh, okay, I've got a personal leadership development plan here. What is a lid limiter that I think I have right now? And what would be a lid lifter? I'm going to come back over here and let's jump in the chat really quick. And if that link did not work, somebody let me know. I made it shareable, so it should be working for you. But I want you to ask this: what's holding you back? What would help you level up? With what Mark Cole said, here's his, and I'll bring this in a little bit closer for you. He said team, mentor, and his own thinking. So he needed to level up when it came to the team that he was surrounding himself with. The mentor that he had actually engaged with had taken him as far as he could go. He was at that lid. And then he even needed to replace his own thinking. Derek, I know you've been in coaching for a while that's helping you with that. How have you noticed, Derek, as you've been changing your thinking with Ben Hardy and others to in the science of scaling to do this? What's happened to your lid?
So I wrote down on here, my lid was my need to feel comfortable in my kindness and loyalty to my team that needed to be replaced.
Uh,
Does that make sense?
yes, it does.
So if I
So,
was going to be growing, I needed to be kind. I mean, and what's interesting is I built a good enough relationship with my team over time that when I did replace them and move to a new team, they were so kind in transitioning and they were rooting for me and they totally understood. And I think some of that came from the leadership I tried to do over time, but for a long time, that was keeping me because I just want to be the nice guy. I don't want to let people go. These are friends, but I had to put that up there, and they're still my friends, which is nice. But I had to. That's a principle of leadership that I've learned.
oh, that is so good. We do want to be loved, and love, I do believe, is a part of leadership. That's
Yep,
level two. We've got to be able, if we're only going to level two, there's no production, there's no
correct.
reproduction, and we can't get to that pinnacle where it's leaders creating leaders at that point. So you made a hard call. The nice thing, like you said, that you were so foundational at that relationship level, even though they were producing, that when they had to go because the production maybe wasn't at the level that you needed for that science of scaling, the
Hmm.
relationship was still stable enough to be able to know
Yep,
we're
still
okay.
good. Yep.
And that is one of the reasons that I love handing you this document and going along with what Jeff said. What's the barometer? How will I know? whether or not Derek did that intentionally or he had success by accident, now he can at least codify it and say, well, I know why it happened that way because I know that there are these levels of leadership and I can see that that's where I had been successful in that. So we always want to be able to take action, right? And so this is where you've got to assess before you can take action is what is a current lid limiter in my life? And maybe it's just your own lack of really like putting the big rocks in place, having priority, scheduling out your week, going with Covey quadrants, quadrant two, and really staying there and not letting the gravel of quadrant one get in the way. We've each got something. Maybe it's personal habits that we need to work on. And so there's a book you could jump into, right? 7 Habits of Highly Effective People would just be one of those. But as we round out today, that's something that's going to be personal to you. And so if you for those who may be joining, you're like, oh, that I'd rather get the link on my phone this way, like Derek Crimmon's doing right there. You could do this. I know the thing that's frustrating is like if you're like Dustin, you're probably on a phone right now. You're like, why are you putting a QR code up, Simon? I can't do this. Well, I did put the link in the chat section, so you should be able to find it there. And Sumit saying it worked. So thank you for the feedback there, Sumit, making sure. And again, I want to invite you to use this as part of your action plan for the next 15, or excuse me, the next 30 days. Just give it a month. It's 15 pages, 30 days to be able to do it. What's something that you can find there to apply, change, or teach? Remember, when you teach other people, that really helps ingrain it for yourself. So I want to give you that challenge. Teach one person something today that you learned. And maybe it's at dinner, maybe it's on social media. Derek Crimmon's really good at getting on social media, sharing stuff that he's learning. But if you share something you learned today, in the apply, change, or just something you learn to teach, it will stick more fully with you and you will be cognitively more committed to be able to do that thing. So commit yourself by sharing today. Now, for you, as we sign off, I do want to let you know because there's some people that are having to drop. Let's do this first. The next leadership solution for the law of influence is going to be next Thursday. This one's going to be at noon. So I'll be bouncing around days and times to try to help accommodate people who can't come at this time. And so that can be frustrating for those that they're like, this is a great day and time, Simon, keep it. Thank you. I'm glad it worked out for you well today. We're going to bounce around a little bit for those that it doesn't work with their schedule so that they can get that. And so I want to give you that one, and I want to give you the registration link right now as we wrap up. So here is the law of influence coming in. And then Sumit, if you want to be my tester on that one really quick again and see if that link works for you, if it opens up the registration page. And the nice thing about the registration page, thanks guys for the thumbs up, is it's got social media shares on there right now. So if you want, you could click on the LinkedIn, the Facebook, you can email it to a buddy, easy to share. And hopefully, my hope is you felt the value today and you're like, oh man, I do need to get my team in here, my friends in here, maybe somebody else that I know who's been struggling and they want to up their game to get in here to be able to do it. So, my final question for you as we wrap up today is what was most valuable for you today? What's an A, C, or a T that you've got? And maybe it's the PDF. You're like, I appreciate that it was the PDF, but could I just hear from you, get a little bit of feedback of what was most valuable for you today? And again, as you do that, you're actually reinforcing it for yourself that that's the thing that I need to be working on, or that's the thing I need to go teach somebody. So feel free, jump on in there, or drop it in the chat.
I think
I mean,
one thing.
I'll always pipe up. Oh, sorry, Jonah, you go ahead.
No, you go first.
Parker,
Well, just hey, Russ, long time listener, first time caller here. No, I just it's interesting because leadership to me is like it just is. It feels and always has felt like such a soft skill, and I personally in my own mind, I'm like, oh, I'm really good at soft skills and like sales and this kind of stuff, and so leadership comes really naturally. But honestly, like like what the video that we were watching about him saying like, hey, you're not going to be able to elevate someone past where you are, I feel is so true, like especially with some of like assistants and people that I have that help me out with my business. I've just found like where I really struggle is like I'm a good solo producer, but where I struggle is getting other people to perform at like a high level because I'm so zoned in on my own thing. So this is, I don't know, it's just it's very interesting and very helpful.
thanks for that vulnerability, Parker. Appreciate it. Jonah, were you the other one jumping in there?
Yeah, and honestly, mine is really similar to Parker's. I really appreciated how when it seems like you're tackling this, it like there's so much to do. There's so many things to tackle, so many directions to take it. So just the simplicity of just the ACT, what's your limiter, what's your lifter, like like those are easy action items that I can come up with that are perfectly individual to me and that I can apply right away. So I really like that.
Excellent. Thanks for the feedback. Well, here's my number one. I really hoped I could do this in 30 minutes, so I'll do even better next time because I want to be quick every single week. Your 30-minute leadership solution. And then the thing of value number two that I gave to you today is that PDF, that 15-page PDF. Make it your leadership development plan over the next month to be able to use it. And then if you can, come back next week, Thursday noon. We're going to be here. We're going to go 30 minutes again. Law of influence to help you out. For wrapping up today, I want to thank you for coming today. Just showing up today was one indicator that you want to level up your leadership lid. And by your participation, you've actually notched it up a little bit more just by showing up, right? Because that's the hardest. The first step to success is showing up. So thank you for showing up today. Thank you for the support that came from my friends for my first time here. And please share the love, get it out there. If this was valuable to you, make sure we share the love with everybody else. And for that, I'm going to sign off and wish you all a wonderful evening, my friends.